They subsidize electricity to the cost of $109 million a year. So all when people in St. Kitts were they having the fuel surcharge being paid for, the people in Nevis had to be paying the fuel surcharge. And at times the fuel surcharge was higher than the usage.
I wonder if the fuel surcharge in St. Kitts also encompasses businesses.
I don't know. I have to get somebody in St. Kitts. Well, two different people, one from a business and one private, to send me some screenshots of the bills.
Okay.
And let me do a comparison.
It'd be interesting to see that.
We have friends down there. Somebody gonna send us a screenshot.
But getting back to this matter of the opposition, Carlisle, and I think I'll use this as my closing.
You got opposition in the federal parliament? You ain't say that the prime minister and the leader of the opposition like peas in a pot?
And that is the danger. That is the inherent danger. What people don't understand is that when you're the leader of the opposition, it doesn't necessarily mean that you must oppose everything the government does. Your job is to make sure you represent the people on the other side, which is the people like us who have no government to go to make sure that what the government in power is doing is legit, is transparent, is accountable, all that good stuff about good governance. The whole government feet to the fire, just like they did leader deposition did Brantley did when he was a leader opposition when Dr. Douglas was in power. No stone was left unturned, whether it was real or imagined. He went after Douglas with a vengeance. And now we have a whole different thing, where the fox is
in the
hen house and being fed chickens. And I said that with all honesty, that this situation is not healthy for democracy, where it appears that the leader of the opposition is in bed with the sitting government. I would have preferred to know that another party, whether it's PAM or PLP, be given that obligation of being the leader of the opposition. Because it's clear that the Premier has compromised his position as leader of the opposition when it comes to the federal government. They're both benefiting on a personal level, not on a democratic level or institutional level. They're benefiting on a personal level. The Prime Minister gets the assurance that if anything goes south in his cabinet, he has CCM to fall back on. So he's coddling that relationship. He's fertilizing it and irrigating it. What Brantley gets out of it? He gets the assurance that there'll be no investigation, no forensic accounting, no questions about the Alexander Hospital extension, no questions about the $500 million expansion, receipts that he got from the federal government. Nothing that would speak to the discrepancies in the electoral office. No reform of that for any time to come. And of course, the federal government also gets to get control of geothermal, which we spoke about last week. And so they are operating on a personal level where each is getting something out of it, while the people are left wondering, well, what the hell just happened? Where is the tough representation we expect from the leader of the opposition? We have this issue of housing that's rampaging to the Federation. It has very little to do with Nevis.
Nothing to do with Nevis.
But he is the federal leader of the opposition. Nothing to say. Nothing to say. I think he's the only person in St. Kitts who have nothing to say when it comes to the NHCS matter. I've been following that matter. It's a troubling matter. We spoke about it on the Target on Saturday for the first time last week. But we have learned so much since. And some of the same questions that are being asked now by political operatives and pundits and whoever else are the same questions we were asking then. If these are smart homes, how come they don't have any systems? Where are the fridges and stoves going to come from? Who's going to provide the concrete? You know, how smart are these homes really? If they're going to build on government lands, is this a contribution from the government? We all covered all those topics 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And here now comes, you know, people like Dwyer jumping in, and, you know, General Powell jumping in, and other operatives jumping in. And the one person who is obligated to jump in because of his position he holds, have nothing to say.
Do not jump in.
But you must admit, Tulu, that this is an untenable situation where the Premier of Navies, because he wants something for himself, is refusing to hold the federal government to account for fear of ruffling feathers, for fear that that dependency, that umbilical relationship will be severed, and questions will now be asked of the Premier to account for monies, or to threaten that we're going to be looking at the electoral reform. This is not a democratic situation we should be in. This is unnatural. The same energy he had for the SKNLP under Douglas is the same energy he should have for the SKNLP under Drew. But we're not seeing that. And the root question must be, why not?
So the thing is, the Premier of Navies, the Bible speaks about a person being wise as a serpent, as a snake. And this is the Premier. He is wise as a snake. One of the posts that I saw from him recently has to do with his relationship, the relationship between him and the Prime Minister. And he's basically is saying that people are questioning the relationship with him and the Prime Minister as if that he and the Prime Minister should not be meeting. This is the same individual, that's why I say he's a snake. When Denzel Douglas was the Prime Minister working along with Joseph Parry, this is the same man who criticized that relationship. You remember his speech in Charlestown? Denzel Douglas come over to have secret meeting with Joseph Parry. You remember him saying to Denzel Douglas, "You fast. Keep out of Navy's people business. Don't come into our business." You remember him insulting Dr. Harris as Prime Minister? Now, what brought about this turn now that all of a sudden it is okay for him to be meeting with the Prime Minister and having a good relationship with the Prime Minister? But Mr. Parry was not supposed to have a good relationship with the Prime Ministers from St. Kitts. This guy is a snake and he is self-serving, and you're right, Dr. Daly. There's something in there that he is benefiting from, and he's going after the benefit. But people must understand that this guy is interested in himself and nobody else. He must get every privilege that nobody else gets. And so here it is. And I believe what you're saying. Dr. Drew is happy to have him under his wings, because I believe Dr. Drew see him as his lifesaver in a one-seat majority. Because I believe in the back of Dr. Drew's mind, if anybody pull a Sam Kanda, like our Sam Kanda pull on Denzel Douglas, it's going to bring down his administration. And so he makes sure that he's looking back up to make sure that anybody pull anything, that he is still there as the Prime Minister. That's the way that I see it. This cozy relationship, Dr. Drew see where he could benefit, Mark wants to see where he can benefit, and they're going to work together. It's not in the best interest of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, but what is in their personal best interest.
Today, we had an update on our hospital project. I think many people would know that the hospital project has been on pause. It has been on pause because we've been trying to get some quantity surveys done on the interior work. Unfortunately, we would have partnered with a particular professional who has not yet produced despite the timelines that had been given. And so today we discuss going to alternatives because naturally we can't have one individual holding up an entire project. And so certainly I would hope that by my press conference, which I try to do monthly, I may have an additional update for you in terms of where we are on that particular project.
You know, very interesting conversation there between Brother Tulu and Daly. And it's good to have these conversations and have an open discussion. But you know what's amazing? Is when you have people who support a particular status quo and they want to tell you, you don't understand or you don't know everything. If you know everything, you will think different. Well, I would like to see the man out there in this world that know everything, understand everything. I know enough about Mark Brantley because I took the time to speak to Mark Brantley and I got the lies. I do my back checks, my fact checks. So I know the person I'm dealing with. I'm not dealing with someone telling me something about Mark Brantley. I'm not trying to no case where somebody come tell me they hear this and they hear that. Sister Tracy Mason, you know I respect you. You know I love you, right? But just as you might think I don't know everything about what's happening in Nevis, I don't think you know either. You all hear all kind of shushu and you all fall for the bull. The people of NRP is not perfect. Just as I know the people of Labour is not perfect. The people of CCM is not perfect. The people of PLP is not perfect. The people of PAM is not perfect. Every one of us, including myself, have our shortcomings. But the message that's been peddled and the venom that some of your Labour supporters have for the NRP, you all should be thankful that Joseph Parry stood his ground in 2010, otherwise Labour would have fallen a long time. Those are the facts. You all heard Mark Brantley say he put Douglas in the departure house of politics. You all heard when he campaigned about the last election. He campaigning with Pam. Him and Sean is a partner. I was down in, what do you call that place there? Vultures over on the lawn. The week of the election, just before the elections. The same man that tell people to stay out of Nevis politics, stay out of people business. It was after 10 o'clock at night, he was down there on stage preaching, giving his support to Sean as the next prime minister. Supporting Pam. Nobody is saying that the premier and the prime minister are not supposed to have a relationship. We are sounding the warning bell that while you're doing your due diligence, Mr. Prime Minister, remember who you're dealing with. Remember, Nevis have the same problems that you all had in St. Kitts. We want them resolved over there. The same problem you all have at your hospital, we have it worse at the Alexandra. The water issue you all have in St. Kitts, we have it worse in Nevis. Mr. Prime Minister, the same way you go to New York and Washington and wherever to meet with nationals in the diaspora and talk to them. We are 2 miles across the waters. We want to talk to you to come over and have a conversation with us. This is what the people are saying. These are the things I'm talking about. I am not going to say the Prime Minister should not communicate with Mark Brantley. I shouldn't take a picture with Mark Brantley. I shouldn't have lunch with Mark Brantley. I shouldn't have dinner. That is his right. We're talking about the things on the surface that we're aware of. The federal funds that was spent in Nevis, according to the Farmer Hag, is over 500 million went over there. This hospital wing that was supposed to complete in 2019. It started in 2017, should take 24 months. Federal funds went into that. These are the things we're talking about. If the Prime Minister want to check into a bottle with Mark, it's up to the two of them. But when we're talking about the business of the nation, that's what I'm talking about. These are the things we're talking about. We need to know what's going on with that hospital and everything else. And we want to know when the process will take place to let us know what's going on with that hospital wing. We need to know. Rumor have it that a minister of the NIA is who did the architectural work for that thing. If that is so, we need to know what was your arrangement with the NIA. What were you designing? Why something that should have taken 24 months and complete in 2019, 6 years later, is still in a situation where you do not know where it's going to finish? You heard me play the clip earlier there. Baby Bantu said the project is on a pause again. On a pause till when? Let's deal with the issues, not the personalities. You all can advise me, give me information. If you think I do not know, my number is a US number. WhatsApp me, 917-597-0195. 917-597-0195. When I get information and it's confidential, I leave it as that. When I come here and talk things, it's things that I check for myself. I don't spread propaganda. As a matter of fact, I made a mistake 2 weeks ago. Someone who always give me good info called me and tell me someone passed away. And after I send my sympathies out there, I get a phone call later telling me the person is in the ICU. Another sparrow deal. I apologize for that. But we have to deal with the issues. We have to deal with the issue. The number you put there is a wrong number, Janelle. It's 917-597-0195. 917-597-0195. 0195. Message me anytime, we could talk. I don't have a problem with you. But I want us to understand that the fight that we had in 2020, 2021, 2022 was for democracy, freedom of information. People have a right to talk. Remember, I came out to St. Kitts, I could not even walk with my brethren them on the street. I applied for a little permit to do a little demonstration on the street down there. They deny my permit, telling me some nonsense about numbers. But yet they got the big session over in Molyneux, in an enclosed hall with the same old there, violating their own rules. Violating their own rules. And when I go and talk about it, they tell me I'm spreading. I had me counter. I had me cricket counter, counting the numbers of people in there. And when I challenged them about what they were doing, a week later, they stretch it out, finally give me my okay to march, the morning of the march. The morning of the march is when they're giving me my okay to march. And even up to when that done, when they approve my march, the morning of the march, should be from 3 to 6. At 5 o'clock, they shut me down at West Independence Square because they don't want Dr. Chu to get the opportunity to march with me. They were dirty. Baby Brandt and all them was a part of the depression, of the oppression. All of them. It was People's Action Movements led by Pam. The PLP led by the Farmer Hag, and the CCM led by Mark Brantley. All of them, they went into cabinet in a secret session and voted to give their friends them thousands of dollars for honorarium, while people hungry in St. Kitts and Nevis couldn't afford to buy medication or food. Them nasty, dirty people, over $300,000. And you are come telling me now about what? Do not tell me about Baby Brantley. He nasty, he dirty. I know for myself, nobody would tell me about Baby Brantley. There are things I would not say here, but like I tell him before, Anytime he want to take me on, he gonna take me on the clock when I finish with him. Because the entire family gonna get touched up. You're gonna be no hose bar. Are you got to hold NRP foot to the fire when NRP screw up? Me not got a problem with it because I will do the same. Or you got to hold Labour foot to the fire when they screw up. Because when the Labour Party screw up and you don't hold the foot to the fire, they're going to get out of hand, and next thing you're out of government again. Is now you have to talk the things them now. No. Don't wait until it's too late. You got to whip them in shape now. Our good up Prime Minister is doing a good job. They're doing a good job so far, but we have to keep things in order. Keep all your eye on Baby Brantley. Keep all your eyes on Baby Brantley. Me not take my eyes off him because I already did my investigation. You understand? He is being the shadow Prime Minister for purpose. The least opportunity he gets to bring down the Labour Party, he will. Because that is his mission. He did it before. He brag about it. Ask Denzel Douglas. Ask the boss. Ask the former Prime Minister. Daly. What Mark Brantley tell him. You seem to forget, you know. In 2021, 2022, when we're talking about mashing up the Team Unity Alliance, you know. You say you're going to drink all your water and mind all your business till 2025, you know. That's what you say, you know. I put myself on the line to ensure that that was going to happen because I could not see a St. Kitts Nevis under that farmer administration for another 3 years, you know. That's why I went down to the mission. And I'm going to tell you something. Somebody might want to hear it. When I went down to the mission to stage a demonstration where the patch-up fella was down there with Alva Pemberton and knockabout people in this New York area here. There was an individual, I understand, when they asked them if they're going to support me with my demonstration, they said they're not going to time with me and that. They got to go walk. Well, that individual is working at the same mission now. Yeah? That individual who didn't have time to go down to the mission to defend the country is working at the same mission now. But me can't tell Dr. Joe who to put in there. Me not have no intention of going in there. Somebody got to do the work. But these are things, just as I think I don't know everything, there's a lot of things I don't know. There's a lot of things I do not know. There's people that come to me and tell me, Dr. Joe was than Timothy Harris. But they're working under Labour administration now with Dr. Joe as the Prime Minister. What you all think they're going to do to Dr. Joe? If that's the way they feel about Dr. Joe, that he was than Timothy Harris, what do you think that they're doing? Ain't waiting for the right opportunity? Pay attention, people.